On behalf of AURO University, a warm welcome to our special guest for today, Shri Kamlesh Patel ji. We also have with us Shri H.P. Rama and family and special guests who have come from different places in Surat, outside Surat. We have faculty members and students present with us. It is an auspicious occasion, and I know some of us may not be familiar with Shri Kamlesh ji, and I'm going to speak a little bit, a short biographical sketch. Born in Gujarat, Shri Kamlesh Patel showed early interest in meditation and spirituality. He was a pharmacy student from LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad, when he met with his spiritual teacher, Shri Ramchandra of Shahjahanpur, also known as Babuji. He was the founder of Shri Ramchandra Mission. It was a non-profit founded way back in 1945, also associated with the United Nations. It was Babuji who taught him the path of heartfulness meditation. After completion of postgraduate in honors, he moved to the US in 1980 along with his wife, Pratima Patel, and 2 sons, where he practiced pharmacy in New York. All through, Shri Kamlesh ji continued to follow the Raja Yoga system of Sahaj Marg with much devotion. Under the spiritual mentorship of Parthasarathi Rajagopalchari, also known as Chari ji, who was the second president of Shri Ramchandra Mission. In 2011, he took up more responsibilities in the mission, and in 2014, following in Shri Chari ji's footsteps, he was nominated as the successor, and he became the spiritual guide of the Sahaj Marg system, as well as the 3rd president of Shri Ramchandra Mission. Daaji, as he is affectionately known, conducts workshops on spirituality all over the world, and he particularly enjoys interacting with young people and students. He has written books on spirituality and meditation, some of them Designing Destiny, The Wisdom Bridge, The Heartfulness Way, and Spiritual Anatomy can be found on Amazon and Flipkart as well. He has to his credit a number of podcasts, articles on spirituality in Huffington Post and Speaking Tree, received several honors, awards, notably the Padma Bhushan from the Government of India, and this year, the Global Ambassador of Peace Building and Faith from the Commonwealth. It is a rare honor, sir, to have you with us this morning. Without waiting further, we would like to invite Shri Kamlesh ji, please, on the stage, and along with him, we request Shri H.P. Rama, Shri D.J. Rama, to please do the honors and felicitate him. The AURO sash and the book of Savitri.
Very dear friends, and my hearty pranams to all of you, and especially to our dear brother, dear elder brother, H.P. Rama and his family, the administrators of this beautiful university, and dear students. Such a joy, overwhelming joy being here. Boys and girls, you are so fortunate, I would say, to be exposed to such a facility. It's very rare. And make use of this and open up many avenues in life. External things can influence, no doubt. the advice from parents, elders, faculties is known to take us further only if we obey. If you don't obey, it will be like a rain falling on the stones where you cannot grow anything. So cultivate the hearts which are capable of absorbing the knowledge. Knowledge is a product of hard work. Book reading is also hard work. But what you get out of book reading is information, inspiration. One more step is also pending ahead of us, and I'm very happy that in this institution, not only the students, but the faculty also undergoes continuous education program, and also the internship, which is very rare. I think it's a first of a kind in the world, where the faculty goes through this internship program. I have heard of continuous education, mostly in professional careers, like doctors, nurses, pharmacists. In order to retain their licenses, they have to undergo continuous education, because if you are graduated in 2000 or 2024, this year, then the knowledge that you have is very limited. There was a time before 18th, 19th century where the knowledge would come once in a while. The new changes would come once in a while, once in a century. But these days, every day new knowledge flourishes. And to keep up with this knowledge, if the faculties or the students think that they have attained something and they're going to vomit out and teach the students will laugh at such teachers. And we don't want to become the laughing stock. We need to continuously keep educating ourselves. First and foremost thing needed is, though we can have a trust, we should trust the thing with a little skeptic mind. Skepticism is necessary. Meaning, don't have blind faith in anything. We have heard this Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. You must have also heard so many times. Do you understand the meaning of it? Towards the end it says, Guru Param Brahma. In the beginning you started as Guru Brahma, and then you are twisting the whole thing and say Guru is Param Brahma. What is the meaning that you get out of it? What is Brahma? What is Maheshwara? Do you know? And you start comparing one unknown with another unknown. Such slokas are recited only once when you have arrived at the destination, and where you are able to see no difference between the highest and the person who has taken you to that highest, the Guru. Only then such statements are valid. Before that, if we keep reciting, it will be like a parrot recitation. Forgive me for sharing such a very controversial thing, but I am known for creating controversy, and I would like students to raise questions, try and understand questions. Another one I laugh at sometimes. There is another sloka which makes me wonder. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu cha saka tvameva. You know the whole story, right? and they are worshipping Guru like that. And I have seen many bhaktas who ill-treat their parents. Even gurus will run away. They say, oh, तेरे पिताजी को तू ऐसा करता है तो मेरे को क्या करेगा तू तो. You don't have enough love for your father and you are comparing me with your father. Learn something. Only when you really love your loved ones, your parents especially. Home is a training ground to love someone else unconditionally. If you cannot love your parents, you can love nobody. You cannot even love God. Start at home. The purpose of today's talk is instilling the sense of purpose in life. I was mesmerized by the vision and mission of this organization, how elder brother Sri H.P. Rama was sharing with us. There is a dynamic nature of the goal. Systems keeps changing. Knowledge keeps changing every single day. So, if the knowledge, the purpose of our endeavor is going to change every day, my purpose will also change. My directions will also change. And how am I going to know all this unless I am fully awakened to my inner needs and inner consciousness? It's like a cat waiting for the mouse. When do I get that opportunity, the moment to grab it? Only when you are still. Only when you are so watchful and aware. Sri Aurobindo's crux, his fundamental principle was to develop consciousness. Swami Vivekananda also, he used to say that all that we have is a mere film of water, very thin film of consciousness. And such a thin film that we are working with is being sandwiched between two giant oceans, Pacific and Atlantic. Imagine what can happen to this little narrow band level of consciousness of thin film. How can I expand this thin film of consciousness and allow it to expand in the sky of superconsciousness and allow it to dive deeper into the oceans of subconsciousness? You have seen, you have observed the beautiful logo with a lot of meanings behind. You have also seen the two triangle, one straight and another is upside down. Straight one reflects your upward journey towards superconsciousness. It stretches your consciousness upward. The other one, the triangle facing down, it guides us to dive deeper into the ocean of our subconsciousness. Simple words, but too complex to achieve. How to attain superconscious state, and how can I dive, or how can I have the access to my subconsciousness? At each level, superconsciousness also will keep changing, because that's what the dynamic nature of consciousness is. Now, before we go further into this dynamic nature of changing of the purposes, I would like to tie it up with the consciousness, how consciousness dynamism changes our purpose. First, let us define what is consciousness. From amongst the students, can anyone get up or raise your hands and say, define what is consciousness? Any faculty?
So consciousness is something that keeps the body alive. So once the consciousness leaves, the body is dead.
What happens to the Atman that is departed, attains death? Do you think that consciousness will be lost?
No. So I think the soul is eternal. So it's not lost. I'm not very sure between the differentiation between Atman and the consciousness. But I do know that Atma is an eternal being, so and body is just like changing dresses.
Thank you for attempt. Consciousness, to my understanding, is very simple. It's a degree of awareness. My awareness is different from that of my brother, my sister, my parents, and from you all. Your consciousness, your degree of awareness, your perceptibility keeps changing also. That is also a dynamic in nature. Suppose when you are angry, what happens to your degree of perception? It will become very narrow. You will not perceive other things at that moment. And there are many conditioning factors that are imposed on us. And the same thing is perceived differently by different people simply because their foundation is different. We all are. Imagine yourself like the sun that shines in the sky. We all are covered with some levels of clouds. Some of us are clouded heavily, and it's almost like a night. Some are very colorful, the way we see the horizons. What is this cloud-like thing that is within us that conditions my vision, my perceptibility? Is it enough that I perceive things? Suppose your mother is having a headache. You are able to perceive. Your consciousness becomes aware. Someone tells you also sometimes. Or your mother may tell you directly and inform you. But without information, can you perceive her headache? You have seen her normal face. When you go home and see her face in agony and pain, you would ask, do you have a headache? Kya ho gaya? Sun thayu tane? Now, having known, having perceived, what is your next step? To get some medicine or massage her head. So that is the response. If you don't respond appropriately in that time frame, headache खत्म हो गया, बाद में बोलता है मदर तेरा खोपड़ी दबा दूं थोड़ा, बोलेगा माथु बंद थे दुख तो. So it has to be in time, appropriate dose. So perception is necessary. But the appropriate response is even more important. Now, what would you do, for example, when you are in a state of samadhi? You perceive samadhi. What will you do with samadhi? You do puja, part and all that. What happens with puja, part? You think you have done your duty. अगरबत्ती जलाया, दिया जलाया, एक दो मंत्र बोला जो तुमको आता भी नहीं है, उसका मीनिंग भी नहीं पता है तुम्हें, और भागा वहाँ से, कॉलेज जाना है. So what is the use of such puja except that you feel happy? Because in heart of your heart you feel that if I had not done that, maybe something bad would happen to me. Or if I continue doing this, something good may happen to me. And the entire life passes on day after day after day, ad nauseum. How many of you have heard a word called antaryamin? Can you raise the hands? Antaryamin. કોઈ નથી સાંભળ્યું? What does it mean? The meaning of antaryamin.
Antaryami means that something which knows everything. Someone who knows everything. मतलब उसको बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, उसे सब पता है.
Why you don't have to tell him everything? How does he know everything?
That's what he is Antaryami.
But why is he antaryamin?
Because he can connect with the soul and the antar of the self, inner self or inner soul of each and every being of the nature.
I think we are getting there slowly. What is this inner self?
The consciousness of accepting your being in this world.
Now you are complicating it, sister. Antaryamin, you split this Sanskrit word. Anta means one dwells inside me. One who dwells. जो मारी अंदर छे એને અંતર્યામીન કહેવાય. ઈશ્વર અંતર્યામીન છે ને? અંદર છે એટલે બધું ખબર છે. ઓકે, બેસી જાઓ. થેન્ક યુ. અને જે ઈશ્વર અંદર છે એને તમે ક્યાં શોધો છો? તમારો રસ્તો ખોટો પડ્યો ને. જો અંતર્યામી જે અંદર છે એને બહાર શોધીએ, ધારો કે તમારા સ્પાઉસ, હસબન્ડ ઓર વાઈફ ઘરે રહેતા હોય, ચાલને મોલમાં શોધી કાઢીએ, કોઈ બીજાને જ પકડી લાવશો તમે પછી. So what happens to your life partner? ભારત દુનિયા કરો છો. Your life partner will be upset, your family life will be upset because your tendencies are to look outward. देखता ही रहता है, इधर देखता है, उधर देखता है. So, જે અંદર છે આપણે એને આપણે બહાર શોધીએ તો શાંતિ ક્યાંથી મળવાની છે? બીજો દાખલો આપું. Most of you are not aware what happens to a mother at the moment of birth. She goes through extreme pain. Extreme means they scream. You have to put earplugs. They scream with so much of pain. But she begins to smile moment child is delivered, and child begins to cry. The first cry of a child makes the mother smile, even though she is in so much of agony. Now imagine for a moment if the child was not crying. The doctors would declare emergency and tilt the baby upside down and try to stimulate the heart and somehow stimulate the breathing. And even then the baby does not cry. Then we declare that Jivan Data, Jivatma ke Atma ke soul that had to accompany this body did not come along. That Atman should have been within this baby, but it's not there. Whole family cries then. Now think for a moment, is your life force outside you? My life force, your Atman, who is an Antaryamin, is within all of us. જેના વગર આપણાથી એક બીજો શ્વાસ પણ ના લઈ શકાય, એને તમે કોઈ દાડો આભાર માન્યો છે? થેન્ક યુ કહ્યું છે? કોઈ સ્માઇલ આપે ને તમે થેન્ક યુ કહો, થેન્ક યુ સિસ્ટર. कोई नैपकिन देता है इन योर रेस्टोरेंट, यू से थैंक यू. फालतू चीज़ों में थैंक यू बहुत बोलते हैं, थैंक यू. बट टू द मोस्ट वाइटल बीइंग हु गिव्स अस लाइफ, you need not, he's not asking for any thanks, but be grateful at least. Cultivate that courtesy at least, that without whose presence in my system, I cannot even go to temple. I cannot even bow in front of a statue. I cannot even wake up. Imagine you go to sleep tonight and you don't wake up. So such is the importance of that life force. Now doesn't matter. We shouldn't care. But there is something very profound within us. All the yoga sadhanas, and especially meditation, is to drive all our attention towards that life-giving force. And where does this life-giving force resides in a human system? In the heart. Read Gita. Lord Krishna says, I dwell in every heart of living being. We have first taken a step of understanding what Antaryamin is. We have tried to understand the incoming of the soul along with the conception and the delivery of a baby. Now we take the third stand by explaining what Yoga Purusha, Lord Krishna, talks about. I dwell in every heart of a living being. If you are a Krishna Bhakta especially, where are you looking for Krishna? In Dwarka? You won't find him there. He is in you. I am not saying it, he said it so. આપણું ડાયરેક્શન જ ખોટું છે તો તમને અનુભૂતિ ક્યારે થવાની છે? I recite one more mantra. All of you are familiar with Gayatri mantra. Can one person get up and recite it? You'll get 5 marks extra. Come on, enthusiastic children.
Om Bhurvuvasvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya.
So remember this student, he deserves 5 extra marks. Thank you, thank you. I will not ask you for the meaning though. But if you know it, you can explain. The beautiful words explaining in simple the source of knowledge, pointing towards Gayatri, saying that she is the source of knowledge. But like many other things that our Shastras talks about, they keep a lot of mysteries. One of the mysteries is this: Bol diya, you are the source of knowledge, the ultimate knowledge. Mahavir, Prabhu Mahavir, he talks about Kaivalya. Mahavir talks of Kaivalya, Lord Buddha talks of Nirvana, Kabir talks of the ultimate state as it's something like raindrops falling in the ocean. And they become the ocean. Patanjali talks about Samadhi. Lord Krishna talks about Sthita Pragya. But have you seen any methods that can lead you to arrive at such a state? How would you arrive at that ultimate knowledge which Gayatri Mantra is indicating? Then there are Mahavakyas also, Aham Brahmasmi. That has something to do with this Brahmasmi and Param Brahma that you talked about. Big statements. And there are people who keep saying that Aham Brahmasmi, you recite few times, you'll become Brahma. But you're already Brahma. But how to realize that? Such statements reminds us, that's all. But no one has given the pathway, how to arrive at it. Even Swami Vivekananda, when he talks about that, allowing your thin film of consciousness to expand and tap into superconsciousness and subconsciousness. How would you do that? That's where dhyana comes into picture. Now, diyo yonaha prachodayat of Gayatri Mantra, that has something to do that the ultimate knowledge, in the word dhyan, di plus yan, dhyan. Di means ultimate knowledge. Yan means a carrier that delivers us to that state. So dhyan word itself conveys to us that it's a vehicle to transport us to that ultimate level of wisdom. Now, how would you perform your dhyan so that you arrive at ultimate knowledge? Is it enough that I close my eyes and sit quietly? Is it dhyan? English dictionary defines dhyan as meditation. And meditation in Oxford dictionary, it says to repeatedly think of one object for considerable time. But according to our ancient sages, dhyan means to transcend the mind and arrive at ultimate knowledge. You can tap into ultimate knowledge only when you drop your mind. That's where we differ. The field of education is all about mind, modern day education. Ancient education is all about dropping your mind. It is in meditation, with the help of a capable guide, that we can tap into the inaccessible levels of consciousness. I have been practicing this meditation since third year of pharmacy college while I was in Ahmedabad, where I was exposed to this meditation where pranahuti is being utilized. Almost 72 generations before Raja Dasharat, there was one rishi who was using this method of pranahuti. From him, through his heart to the Shishya's heart, he would transmit the spiritual divine energy and elevate his consciousness to the extent that person can bear it. So there is an incremental shift in consciousness to the extent one can tolerate. So it's a dynamic change of consciousness, degree of perception. To the extent we become purer, to that extent we are exposed to different spectrum of consciousness. That's one part. How to dive into superconsciousness? It is into subconsciousness. It is like digging a well. How do you dig a well? You use different stuff, different instruments. Digging the psyche of the mind. That means I have to uncondition myself. I have to get rid of many ideas and perceptions and knowledge that I carry within myself. It has to go out of my system. To make this example clearer, what is meant by cleaning so that my subconsciousness can be accessed? I give you a small example. You have seen the elephants in a circus. How are these elephants trained in the first place? When you grab the elephant first time from the forest, they capture the elephant. They tie its 4 legs with iron chain on 4 stumps and are not allowed to move at all. So over the months of such tied up elephant, he would be conditioned that I am unable to move now. Later on, even when you tie his leg with one simple rope to a plastic chair, he will not move. Now he is conditioned. If he wanted, he can whirl this chair and throw it on the audience. He can even bring down the entire circus tent. But because he is conditioned, he will not attempt it at all. And we are also conditioned in many ways. I give you another example. That was actually an experiment done at Harvard University, where there were 5 students whose emotional responses were measured through its effect on the person's thoughts and how the brain would behave when they were shown one person being tortured. These 4 or 5 students who were under fMRI tunnel, one was from an Islamic background, another was Hindu, third one was Jewish. So likewise they had the observers from a different religious background. But the person who was being tortured belonged to one religion. Suppose he was Hindu. Now, how would Christian observer feel Hindu being tortured? Or how would a Hindu feel when the Hindu was being tortured? Or how would the Muslim gentleman would feel how that Hindu was being tortured? And all 5 had different responses. And they all arose because of their background, how They were trained from their childhood whom to like, whom not to dislike. So that is conditioning. And if these conditionings are removed somehow, which we teach in Heartfulness way of practices, on a daily basis, morning we meditate to rise into superconscious. In the evening we have a different process of meditation, we dive into a subconscious. And at night time we offer prayer to connect ourselves with the higher self. Now, as consciousness will keep changing, even when our consciousness is not changing, the purpose in life keeps changing. A person with a static mind, his purposes also will keep changing. As a child, I had a different purpose in life. As a student, I had a different purpose in life. After I graduated, I had a different purpose in life. These are all short-term goals. But there is one simple goal, what we call long-term goal or the life's goal, the ultimate goal. If you fail in exams, it's okay. You can repeat, you can clear it next year. Same thing happens in the game of life. If you fail in this life, in the non-attainment of that goal, the life's goal, if you fail there, you have to repeat the class of life. That is what we call Janam Marano Chakkar, see. That means you are not liberated. So yoga is very simple. The goals are very simple. Practices are also very simple. You need a guide. And you need a living guide. One who can interact with you on a daily basis. Many people go into a state, oh, Buddha will help me, Mahavira will help me. How can they help you? Even to converse with your lecturers properly, you are not able to do it. Direct face-to-face connection is there. What he says and what you understand, they are two different things. And as the subject matter also becomes deeper and deeper and subtler and more refined, there will be many interpretations of the same statement. And the spiritual journey is like that, ascending the most refined heights of consciousness. Without a proper guru, you cannot. If at all, it will be 1 in trillion individual who can make it to the highest, if at all. Anyway, you all are smart beings. Try to channelize your life. Spiritual life is not against the material life. They have to be integrated. Many people, they ask me, how is it that you are running a pharmacy business and also were able to, pursue your spiritual career? I say, I started as a student. I didn't fail as a student. In fact, I did better than most. One of my classmates is here also. He can vouch for it. The students who were really meditating, we had almost 20 plus students in my college. Without an exception, they excelled in life. Their family life is a lot better. So sooner you start building your foundation, better it is. listening to our elder brother H.P. Rama, what stands out, I know him last few months only. Rather 2 years back I came to know he was at our ashram. I could witness the passion in small things. I have visited his home, I have visited his corporate office in Greenville, Carolina, US. I have witnessed his hotelier here and now the college. Passion and perfection. If at all you graduate out of the school, learn these two fundamental things, passion for perfection. Thank you all. Thank you for your patient listening.
We are deeply grateful to you, sir, for that relaxing and peaceful time of meditation, which has benefited all of us. Thank you for presenting such deep spiritual truths in simple, relatable ways. And I'm sure as we go forward, we try to apply those in our daily lives. And I think you're a living example of how you can integrate spirituality and professionalism together. We are thankful to you. Thankful also to Shri H.P. Rama and the team for making this session possible. A lot of people have worked behind the scenes, late hours. In different ways you have contributed, and every effort is worthwhile.